Another wonderful day, another beautiful day, and we get together and have conversations. We get together and we talk with people who are making things happening in our community. Talk with people who are putting smiles on the faces of people in our community. Talking with people who, after you listen to them talk, because you wake up every morning and you go on their social media and you look at the wonderful things they are doing, you see hope. You see a community that is turning to something everyone admires. You see a community that is gradually becoming a place where everyone smiles, everyone is happy. Um, I don't think he needs further introduction. Let me just bring him in. Boss, welcome.
Excited to be here.
Wow, thank you very much. You're always looking sharp. That's one other thing I'm learning from you. I'm copying from you. I never did dress sharp because I want pack and all. I want get all the thing and put them for wardrobe first, and then now I start look how to pay the colors and pay this one and this one. I don't know how do you do it? Is it just you or sometimes madam or sometimes a small sister?
It's the ecosystem. Everybody
Mhm,
takes his own share of it. And I want to give credit to my home, to my wife, to everything. I mean, we all have an ecosystem in which we live, and those ecosystems are supposed to be there to help us stand out. And I want to give kudos to my wife. She came. I mean, before all of this, I used to be not as much as as I am now.
mhm,
I just try to look professional at any time
mhm,
because that's what I want to people to see me like. That's what I want people to know, that this is a professional. And I worked for all the years that you work in corporate. I worked in
mhm.
a place where I needed to dress in a particular way, and it stuck by me. So yeah.
Yeah, I like you use the word ecosystem, and I think that gets me closer to the conversation we're going to have today, which is going to talk about our relationship with the people we're working with, the people that are working for us, the people. And I feel like there's so much going on, there's so much that we ignore, and in the long run or in turn, it kind of like hurts us. Sometimes we might feel like we're just okay. After it give me waiting, and then another day you realize, oh, and sometimes, oh, okay, I'm okay, I will do this, and then 4 or 5 years down the road, you're like, oh, I don't think that was the best way I handled this. I really want us to talk about relationships. And how it relates with our taxes and our building world. Now, one thing I don't always hear from you is the whole idea of you are not supposed to only talk to your CPA when it's time for you to file your taxes. Build a relationship with whoever is filing your taxes or whoever is your tax strategy is helping you build with. Can you explain a little bit more on that? Why it's really important to build a relationship?
Relationships is everything in everything you do. It's important even in your home. I mean, the only one of the things we usually struggle with is building that better relationship even in our homes and things like that.
Mhm,
And we end up, I mean, we are so we have a lot of personality. We think that we're far more important than we truly are. We
mhm,
really we are nothing. We're really nothing. And there are things that happen in our community, and we realize that, hey, we are truly nothing. We have to build our communities, whether with our spouses. If we have problems with our spouses, we build them. Because at
mhm,
the end of the day, you see people just die of a heart attack or something is happening. Just because somehow, somewhere you are angry that Mr. A did not do this. And at
mhm,
times I say this is not about everybody. It's not, I'm not talking just to everybody, I'm talking to myself as well.
mhm,
If we don't realize that we are really nothing, and then we start coming down from our high horses and come to a place where we can communicate and agree that, okay, somebody is different from you, and that we can, instead of looking that as a problem, we can basically bring those things together to harness them together so that we can have that synergy that comes into 1 plus 1 becoming 4, one
mhm,
plus one becoming 5. It's so important. That is the same thing with our financial advisors. If
mhm,
you want to build through true wealth,
mhm,
you have to have a great relationship with your accountant, You will have to have great relationship with your attorney. You have to get a great relationship with your financial advisor. And
Mhm.
what better than to have those three people working within the same network?
True.
It means you just have now to have a great relationship with that network. And also you want to have a great relationship even with your doctor, because those are
Mhm.
the people who make things for you. And
Mhm.
how do you do this? Let me tell you, one of the biggest problems we have is that when we start, when we do a lot of things without consulting the people. That's why we say that you have to build a relationship. If you are my client and you want to buy a property, you want to buy a car, you want to invest in something, you want to do all those things, we do that before the year. During the year, we are already planning, because every transaction you make has an impact on your wealth. It has an impact on the taxes you will pay. And if
Mhm.
you can preempt that, that's why we talk about planning. You're not planning only your taxes, you're being intentional about wealth building. That's why it's so important that those relationships are strong. If you don't like somebody you're working with, it is hard for you to build that relationship. It's hard for you to even be able to win with that person. That's why we have to build relationship with those who are important for us, who help take us to the next level. We want to build relationships. Those are critical.
And now, what are some of the things you have at the back of your mind when you go out there, when you're meeting a client, with respect to building relationship? What are some of the things some of the equipments you use, like some of the things that you have that helps you not only establish relationship with them or helps you understand them or helps you understand persons? I just want to get tips from you on what to do if I was going to build a good relationship with somebody.
If I want to go and build a relationship with someone who likes playing soccer, it's
Hmm.
easy. We don't start talking all the time only about numbers. No,
Hmm.
you get to know me. What do you like? You are a soccer fan. Your game, the team you're supporting is probably one of those teams that are out there. If you know that you're meeting people who have different interests, the interests of people very, very important if you want to build a relationship. The interest. You want to know exactly what is going to make this guy tick. You go to a place and you see somebody is just seated like this.
Hmm.
And then before you know it, this guy, if you knew that this guy loves golf, then you just go with one thing about golf. Before you know it, is the whole room is lit up. Because
Wow.
now he's excited. He's talking about that Masters that just ended. He's talking about that game that just ended. He's talking about everything. I mean, people out there who love soccer. That
Mm.
guy. Oh, last week there was a Premier League. There's a championship. There's something that's happening in North America and things like that. It is all about knowing people's interests
Mhm.
and then going to them and talking about those interests, having a little bit of a clue, being also knowledgeable about what's happening in the economy is so important because
Mhm.
people want to know about things that are happening to themselves. So knowing people's interest is number one. And so that when you go into doing body languages is also number one. It's also
Mhm.
important. When you enter a room and you see somebody who is seated like this, you know that this means something. If you
Yeah.
see people who are talking about something, they are facing one another and they are talking, you come and you try to break in there, you're cursing, you're basically breaking a relationship that's very intense. They don't allow you, just their body language tells you that
Yeah.
this is not something that's open to you. If you see them, they're just open and talking, then they need somebody to come in.
Mhm.
You can come into that conversation, even if it was a group, as long as they're open to them. But if they are facing one another and they are engaged, and then you come there, you become like an outsider. It's very important. These are soft skills that are
Hmm.
taught. There are books for this. There are programs for this to teach you how to basically understand people's body language, understand how to interact with people. I mean, those things that these are only books. You read books, you learn about these things, you learn about the habits of successful people, you learn about the things they like, you learn about all those things. Once you learn those things, you start playing that game. Then you're getting into the game. You know where to meet the people you're looking for. Because again, that is your goal. It is you who's looking for them. They are not
Yeah.
looking for you.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't just go out there and start thinking, oh, I'm a tax this. Nobody cares about, because people don't even believe that you can do some of the things you're talking about.
Mhm.
But if you interact with them at a deeper level, Then you start seeing them texting you about that game that ended yesterday, or what happened to that hole that we did, what happened to. Then that's where you are getting into it. You start getting into their lives. That's very, very important.
Boss, I was going to ask you, whether we like it or not, every relationship takes two people,
Yes.
this end and the other end. Now, you just talked about mostly what you as CHN advisors you would do in most cases. What about the persons you work with? What about the person? I don't want to call them clients because I've seen you work, I've seen you do your thing. You have these wonderful relationships. For you, these people are not even clients. These people are just families. These people are just people you want to share your knowledge with, people you want to just see how you can accompany them in their journey. Now, what are some of those things you feel like some of these persons, if they understood, especially when building relationship, some of those things that if they understood, you would have built a better relationship with them, or it would have been easier for you to build this relationship with them and thus better help them?
There are so many things. Again, um, like I said, the things that I expect from I don't go to when you go to people. I mean, you're not going there with an expectation. You're going there to give. You're going there to give, and that is why there are instances that I talk about so many things, and people tell me, "Hey, you're giving too much." You have to give because it's by giving. For me, I believe that if I come and you're asking me about a strategy, there are so many clients that come to my platform. They
Mhm.
are coming here with the expectation that I'm going to have them as a client. I'm going to do this. They come with their problem, and then I just give them the exact solution, tell them everything they need to do without even asking them that we want to work together. I just tell you, go and do this, go and do that, go on. Because I
Mhm.
want that everybody who comes on my platform has a positive experience. That's number one. Is
Wow.
able to take away what he came for. Let me tell you, if people understand, people will not come to you if you just go out there and then they don't even understand what is the level of knowledge you have. When you give to people, you keep
Yeah.
giving, you give to people, people will gravitate towards you to now want to give back. They want to do this. I mean, I don't know how I can say this. When people are happy with their interactions with you, they are ready to stay with you, they're ready to build with you. That's why being that thing that I said before about understanding how to interact with people. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying this that I'm a superstar. I fail all the time. I fail a lot of times. I mean, I've had situations where even with my employees, I'm failing. But I go and ask myself, why did I do this? Why did I do that? And then you
Mhm.
learn from everything. Every time you have a challenge, it's a learning experience. You just want to do that. Yes, that is what I will tell people, not only in my team. There are times we go on meetings, and then the way I speak to somebody, somebody tells me, "Hey, you weren't supposed to do that in public." You learn from there. We are in a learning process, and once you open up, you're willing to. I mean, there is one thing that is killing us. It is this thing called ego.
Mhm.
Ego. Ego. We don't have respect for one another. We feel that we have this big, somebody has to come to us to do this. All of us have a problem. When there is a problem, every time we try to learn from every situation, and then we bring down our ego and are able to interact better with people. Because everything we do is about people. And those people, you have to give them power, enhance them, give them strength. When you make people feel like they know how to do things, they want to book them, they want to break mountains for you. And that's very important. Give them that ability to feel like, they are already doing great, they can do better. That aspect of saying something is very bad, you can say something is great, but it needs improvement. Everything is great. Instead of getting in neck, you can pass your message in a way that it doesn't just completely kill that person. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying this, at times we do that as well, but we learn from it every day. Managing people is a process, it's a learning curve. Yes.
Boss, you talked about you sometimes even making those mistakes.
Yes.
Sometimes you have people who you work with making these mistakes.
Yes.
But I like the fact you pointed out making amends is more important. What is the strategy for you? How do you think we should go about making amends? Because sometimes even the clients, like I said, I don't want to call them clients, even the people you're working with, sometimes they are the ones who maybe overreact on certain things. Sometimes it might be you. For you, what is the best possible way to amend these situations?
Let me tell you, I'm going to say this. I have a client. This is tax season for us. This
Mm-hmm.
is tax season. Tax season for any firm that does taxes. It is hard to contact people during tax season because everybody, they are so busy. It starts from February right up to the end of May, June, just right up to the end of May. And for people
Mhm.
who have extensions, it's still going. They are extremely busy. And they are extremely busy working for clients. They have all these clients, they have to do all these things, they have deadlines and all whatnot. And in most cases, you have people who are also trying to get access to us. Always. They're trying to get access, they're trying to do this. During the year, for the remaining 9 months of the year, you're constantly talking to people and getting information. This is the time to
Mhm.
deliver. And I have had instances where clients get really upset that they have not been able to speak to Charles, they have not been able to speak to Mary Comfort, they have not been able to speak to this. And my role as the leader in the group is really to try and reach out to this client and say, please just give us a piece of time. At times you tell a client that give me to tomorrow, and that tomorrow you still cannot meet that client. I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do, but
Mhm.
these are things that we encounter
Yeah.
until you get into our industry. And I'll tell you one thing, and I'll tell you this is very sincere. CHN advisors, we have put it, we meet our clients far more times than any tax strategy firm that I know. Any tax strategy firm. But yet we still have challenges, making sure that these clients are happy. Because I mean the expectations, and this is something we have learned. Expectations, you have to set them and you have to communicate them as clearly as possible. At times, maybe the explanations we have are not just as clear. I have this client today, and I'm sorry I'm getting this a little bit. I had a client last week who came and he was very pissed. He was very pissed. And this happens in all corporations. He was pissed that, oh, he called and he wasn't able to talk to somebody. There's this. He went and wrote a very long review on the page and said so many things. Okay, I looked at the review and this morning I just took my phone and I sent to the client. I told him one and I asked him, hey, we have been doing A, B, C. How do you this? I explained, tried to talk to him. And you get what? The client come back to me and say, Charles, I'm so sorry. I owe you an explanation. I owe you an apology. I owe you
Mhm.
an apology because at times we just get so flared up and then we don't even realize certain things that are happening. So I'm so sorry. I'm going to remove all those things and things like that. It just takes some communication. And at times we fail on communication. Communication is so important. It's so powerful. It breaks everything. That guy went back and removed everything he had put. He had done all of this. He was just keep pushing, pushing. The
Mhm.
point is communication. Communication. There's nothing bigger than communication.
For how long have you had that client?
I've had a client for. I mean, let me tell you another thing is that this is a client who comes to me in December. You come to me in December and we
And I
have to.
was gonna, that's the question I was gonna ask you,
Yeah.
but is it even possible? Because like you always say, have a CPA or a tax strategist that you're working with all year, that you're
Yes.
working with all decade, that you're
Yes.
working with all your life.
Yes.
Somebody that sometimes they'll not even call you for certain things because they already
Yes.
have the record, they already have everything. Do you think that that's where maybe an issue? Because like you said, if you're just coming for me, December or January or February, we have a
Yes.
very limited time and we have a long list of people we're working with.
Yes.
Do you think if people start focusing more on building relationship with their tax strategists or their CPA, it will have less of such content?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to stand here and always say that it is the problem of the guy who's coming. It is
Mhm.
just again, we have to communicate our expectation and set those things very clear at the beginning. Tell people
Mhm.
that, hey, guy, this is the way we work. At this time, we get so busy, and I will talk to you maybe once over this time period. And at times, we promise
Mhm.
more than we promise. We tell them now we are going to meet you on this day, and many a times you want to meet them on those days, and then they tell you, no, I cannot meet because I'm busy. Let's push it to this other day. That other
Mhm.
day it becomes so complicated for you to make it happen, and things like that. But the game again is building that relationship. When you build a
Mhm.
relationship with Charles, with CHN advisors, you know that even if Charles doesn't speak to you in a month, he's still working on your behalf. Because
Mhm.
there's one thing that we do in this firm. We try as hard as we can to make sure that every commitment, we are not over promising,
Mhm.
over deliver. And for most of, all the clients that we've worked with up to now that we've delivered their taxes, they have been satisfied, very satisfied. They have been very satisfied. And that's so important. But the key also is that we cannot do anything if we hit anything that is we don't see clearly, or maybe the law or something. We have commitments. We want to make sure that everything we commit to you is based on the law. We give you what is based on the law. And
Hmm.
at times, if you came to me in December, like this client will come to me in December, we can only do so much for you. We can only do so much.
Mhm.
And we tell you that, okay, we are not going to do, we don't want to give you so much. I don't want to promise you too much for 2024,
Mhm.
but the game about strategy for you will happen a lot in 2025. In
Hmm.
2024, we're going to prepare your taxes. We're going to look at some of the strategies that we can implement for you.
Mhm.
But this is how it's going to be. And that is the game. That's how we communicate it. But for some, again, you want to make sure, like the client I'm talking about, it was just about his problem was not that we didn't do anything. His problem was just that he wasn't able to communicate with Charles, not with me, even with the client, with the person who is the head of our tax team and things like that. And that at times I just want to tell them, I try to explain to them. And for that, he says, Charles, I owe you an apology. I really owe you guys an apology. I just didn't understand that. Yes.
Hmm. Okay. Um.
It is communication. Just know
Yeah.
that communication is so important. And every day in this game, you want to be wherever you are. Running a business is a big, big responsibility. It's a big challenge.
Mhm.
If you are an employee working for somebody, you don't carry as much responsibility as the guy who is running an operation, who is trying. The day you start building your own business, you know that there are far more challenges in building a business. But that's why entrepreneurship is not easy. But you have in entrepreneurship, you have to communicate properly, set goals very well. If you set them very well, you're going to be okay on both sides. Yes.
I was telling someone the other day that if there's one skill I feel like we should emphasize, especially with our kids nowadays, is communication.
Yes.
I growing up, I used to be, oh, I'm a shy person, I'm an introvert, I don't talk, I don't. And mind you, I lost so many opportunities
Yes.
because I usually don't open me and you get that problem. You're like, oh, this man, now wait to get for do. And they look, you say, no, you know it if you do. You look me say, and that is just me. But I'm learning now to really communicate because sometimes, like you said, when you don't communicate correctly, the other person will interpret them in own way and then
Yes.
do it if you do, and then you remain frustrated. And because you don't communicate them, it will rumple on our relationship.
I'll tell you, I have my daughter. I have my one of my daughters who is I she's very smart in school. But at times she doesn't speak. And I tell
Hmm.
her that's a big problem.
It's a
I told
big
I
problem.
tell her that's a big problem. She has to be, I want to see you smart, pushing things and also speak.
Speaking.
Because that speaking, you can know everything as long as you don't communicate it. People cannot know it. You are
Yeah.
not getting anything. Somebody will sit there, and then you will not get some of the things. You'll be complaining that, oh, I'm the one doing all the work, this.
Mhm.
It's because you are not able to go out there and communicate. Make sure that you build that relationship. You only build relationships by communicating frankly, by being sincere to people, making people know the truth who you are. But communication, you cannot. If there's one thing that you have to build in this current community, in this current economy, in this current world that we live in, is
Yeah.
how to communicate. If you can
Communicate.
communicate, you're always winning. Always.
That's true. When you can communicate, you can sell anything you want. I look at the most successful people, whether we
Yes.
like it or not. Sometimes we don't understand their communication skills, but
Yes.
it is very, very intentional. I'm talking about the guy we have right now, who
Yes.
people feel like, oh, he's this, he's that. But
Yes.
then when you sit down and you look at everything he says, the way he say them, the type of things he do, you're like, damn,
Yes.
wow.
I
But
mean, we usually overlook the power of some of these people who have done amazing things, and then all the time we usually sit and only look at the negatives because
Mm-hmm.
we look at them from our own lenses.
Yeah.
Every time we look at things, we look at them from our own lenses. We have to start looking at things. I mean, if we don't understand, if we don't learn, if we don't, I mean, we will always misjudge certain things. I have a lot of respect for people who have
Mm-hmm.
been able to build their own empires. I have a lot of respect for them because I've tried it. I know how hard it is. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hard. It's very hard to convince somebody to give you $1.
Yeah.
It's very hard to convince somebody to give you $10. And if you can get to that point where you're convincing people to give you $100,000 for what you can give them, then you have, when you see a person like that, you have to give him some kudos.
Yeah.
Give him some kudos. Yes. Because
Boss,
that is
what I was going to ask you, because we are 5 minutes to the end, and if I don't answer this question, it will be funny. What are
yes.
some of the things you're doing to actually improve on your communication?
Number one is learning. Let me tell you, learning. I'm just before I spoke to you, I was
Mm-hmm.
speaking with my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I had a meeting with my mentor. I was having a meeting with my mentor because when I come out from an event,
Mm-hmm.
the way I did everything at that event is being scrutinized. And then at times he makes you feel like you just messed up. He makes you
Hmm.
feel like you just messed up. But what is that? You pay seriously for someone to come and criticize you
Hmm.
because you want to be self-critique. All that critique, you want to have it.
Yeah.
Not because you're going to have people who are coming from outside who are giving you that critique. You want to see them before.
Mm-hmm.
Learning, educating. When you see things about learning how to sell is so important.
Yeah.
Learning how to communicate is so important. Reading books about communication, the habits of successful people, how getting wealthy is a science. There's a science to everything we do. The world has analyzed it and they've made it marketable.
Hmm.
You have to learn. Some of the things we do, you have to do mentorship. You have to have people who are constantly learning the soft skills. Soft skills are so critical. When I used to work for PwC, I mean, when you got to that level of, before you became even a senior, this is every time you had to have soft skills training, because you're being
Hmm.
trained to be a leader and to talk to people. There are so many people that believe that they already know it all. They can tell you everything, but there's a pattern to this. There's a science to this. And there are people out there who are teaching us how to communicate, how to do this, how to relate to people. And if you follow those principles, I know this might sound crazy. It's just like telling somebody that you can go through therapy. Some people just see it and say, or you go through some coaching where some people give. In our communities, we don't really know that, but they exist. They have been studied. They exist, and people are using them. That's
Mm-hmm.
why. See, I mean, read, learn.
Oh,
Soft skills, critical to building a business. You come to a meeting with people, learn how to make them comfortable to be able to give the best of themselves.
basically.
But also, you have to be very careful because
Yeah.
there's a fine line between being very this and not being able to make the hard decisions enough. You have to be able to make hard decisions. Otherwise, you take your business to disaster.
That's true, boss. We
It's my
have a few minutes to close, but I want you to reiterate why it's very, very important for us to build relationships with the people we're working with, build good relationship with the people we're working with, communicate more, communicate more. I want you to reiterate that one last time, and then we can round up.
for everything that you want to achieve.
Mhm.
The goal is, especially, you are depending on someone to help you achieve that goal. You are depending on someone to help you achieve that goal. And
Mhm.
for you to achieve that goal, you must be able to relate to that person. Even if you're an employee, you don't relate to your employee, it's not going to give you value.
Mhm.
Even if you're talking to third parties where you're trying to convince them in order to build something, you have to relate to him, be with that person beyond just the service you're providing to that person. You have
Mhm.
to. You have to. It is so important that you can relate to that person beyond the service you're providing, because it's only that way that you're going to build that strong relationship. Relationship is everything. They say, show me your network, and I will know what your net worth is. Your network is so important, and to build a network is not easy at all. At all. There are some people who sit and say, I don't have me any friends, or I don't have me any people, I don't have me this, I don't. You don't have a network. If you don't have a network, where are you going? How can you build? This world is about networking. Facebook is all what it is because of networking. All these large companies are what they are because of networking. Networking is everything.
Everything.
Building relationship, bringing people into your network, the more you build today, that's what you call, what do you call it? You call it, uh, I mean, online. You build a network online. People are
Yeah,
talking
followers.
about real estate. You're talking about, how do you call it? Soft real estate or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But the real estate today that you build by building a community within the social media
Yeah.
space is becoming far more important than building properties and just having them like that.
That's true.
It's becoming far more important than having that. I mean, eyeballs, you're making people see you, you're making people hear you, you're making people come and relate to you because of your lifestyle. We've been talking a lot about lifestyle.
Yeah.
People want to see your lifestyle. They want to communicate with you in beyond just what you do. That's so important. It is critical.
And I think that is one thing I learned from you. Thank you very much for all this information. Now people know, but I see this all the time in the show. I don't work with persons. I'm not going to learn things from them. I don't. For me, it need to excite me. I like, for after working on a project, I sit back and I be like, wow, I really like this idea. I really like what you talk. One of the things you told me the other time was, these people are talking about AI. These people are talking about technology, AI taking over and things like that. You laughed and you said, Toride, do you think AI can actually replace human interaction? Even, and I was like, so that's the bottom line. Whether we like it or not, there is always that need for human being to talk to human being. Always that need for human being to look at another human being and say, oh, I like what they're doing. Once you start getting a fake and there is no connection, no real connection with whatever is happening. Boss, thank you very, very much.
AI would do all
Yeah,
what it does just to enhance human relationships. You
that's
still have
true.
to do a lot to act. I mean, it's an enhancement to what we do. It's just a
Mhm.
help for us to
Yeah.
get to where we want to go, but we still have to do that human relationships. Yes.
Boss, thank you very much for this 30 minutes. It was actually worth $1 million. Maybe we'll talk again for background. We'll talk later today and see you on the next one.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Always excited to be on Toride. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow, guys. One of the persons away in the last how many years I've learned a lot from. I've learned a lot from, and not just because um I was smart, but because even he don't always create the environment for every person around you for learn. One of the persons away a message you could preach every now and then is, hey, what are you doing? What are we doing to move forward? It's never about him. It's never, and every person we, ask me a number and reach out to him and did anything. The funny thing is most of them even can't tell me, say, that man not charge me nothing. I go for the, he say give me an idea, solution, or how to resolve my problem and this, that, and I say the work. I'm like, that's life. Some people they really care about our community. Some people they really want to just see people make progress. Some people just want to see every other person better. Charles Njoa is one of them. The people who are working, the team at CHN Advisors, that is their goal. Always looking for, okay, what can we do to improve things for this community? And when we talk about our community, I hope you need to think what I think. Our community is every person who is thinking positively, who is looking forward to making the world a better place for everyone. That is the community we're talking about. Don't try to want to carve a small niche or a small group, or no. Our community is about people who think positive, who think for others, who think because they know I cannot exist if that other person doesn't exist. That person will not exist if I'm not existing. So what can I do to complement them? What are they doing to complement me? And we just push out information and we just push out do the best we can do to continue advancing towards a better world. Thank you very much. By the way, on TikTok, on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube, he has so much content. He has so much material. Take advantage of. And if you feel like you have personal questions or you want a one-on-one session with him, especially now that the tax season, I say tax season, no, I don't say tax life or tax something else that is bigger. Tax season, because most people want to rush people like him between February and April and May. But guess what? The real people, the smart people, the people who are looking to build long term, now they even start go for E. They go present their tax, whatever material from, okay, hey, what can I do now to take things to another level? Hey, what can I do now? You build relationship with this person. You talk and talk and talk every day with them. You give yourself 5 months, 6 months. These people will even give you advice or even tell you this or that can actually help you get to where you wanting to go. Follow him on all social media platforms. It's Charles Njoa. It's CHN Advisors. And thank me later. I say thank me later because I know what this guy, just to make sure our people are informed, are educated about what is happening around the world. Thank you now.